Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Slowly being integrated back into society. It's the Audience One Show on Conroe's 106.1 and 104.5 FM, streaming on irlonestar.com and available wherever you get your podcast from. I am Andrew, sitting next to the guy who would like to grow spare ears for cash. It's Dick. I flick 4 times. Chisler.
At least 4 times.
At least 4 times. Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. How's that going, selling some of those ears and spare body parts for cash,
Well,
buddy?
there's a black market for other things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I'm making a killing.
Are you? I do think we
Yeah.
need to start slinging some merch, some AOO merch, by the way.
Okay.
And I don't think
What would be the first thing we'd make?
Well, I think we need to start small. Everyone's expecting like a T-shirt or something like that. No. I want to do something different. I want to start something small, something that's not a lot off of our plate.
I say a fart gun.
That's maybe second or third.
We gotta get
item.
into that market.
Yeah, definitely.
If they're making 10 different versions of the same gun, that means people are buying them.
You capturing your own scent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we should do a candle, a goop candle.
Oh, nasty. An AOO good candle.
No, we should call it a dick candle.
Yeah.
And have my face on it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I mean, I did something like that on our social media a year ago.
And then
Smell like cigar butts.
Yeah.
Candles by Dick.
Oh, that's so funny.
Now, I was thinking maybe we could do like a starter kit for a junk drawer. Just like find some batteries that are kind of half used.
Yeah.
Maybe some nails or screws that you don't know what they're
Twine.
for. Twine, yeah, and just kind of wrap it up. See, stuff you can find around your house.
Like a broken bottle opener.
Yeah, something like that.
Like
And
it
be
kind of
yeah,
works
it's
if
a
you
starter
angle
kit.
it just right.
That's right. Yeah. And then I think we need to work our way up to like NFTs.
No,
I don't even know what that means, but we
basically,
need some AOO NFTs.
No, what we do is we pick the items that we spoke about, so we can already do the suitcase that is battery powered.
Oh yeah, sure. There you go.
Yeah, we got the fart gun.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got a tortilla wrapped owl plushie.
Yeah, plushie, of course. And on the inside, there may or may not be some methamphetamines.
Yeah. Duh. That's
It's like, but you know what? It'd be like the golden ticket. From Willy Wonka.
Not
all of them will have the meth.
Instead of beaver nuggets, they're beaver sniffs.
Okay. All right, where are we going with this?
Well, you don't remember that? They found the drugs in the Bucky's beaver? Yeah. So they make a thing called beaver nuts or whatever
Nuggets,
they're called.
yes.
Nuggets, so we're calling beaver sniffs.
Okay.
And we're in the drug game, baby. That actually would be a cool logo for like on the packages.
We're coming out hot today.
Well, you know what I'm talking about when they do like, oh, we found 400 pounds of cocaine, and they have like a little stamp on them to do the Bucky's face. People would be so confused by that. That'd be awesome.
Oh, man.
No, actually, I want to ask you something.
Yes, ask away.
Have you seen these claw machine places?
Claw machine place. No.
Like
are you
it's dedicated to
just to the claw machine?
To claw machines.
I mean, I've seen claw machines at other gaming halls, like, what do they call them? Why am I drawing a blank? Arcades. I've seen that, or maybe like the Dave and Buster's or something, but I've never seen it where it's just claws.
Okay. I did not know this was a thing. And it is.
Okay.
So in Katy, there's like 2 of these places, and I'm going to try to pull them up for you. Because I was
talking like a show trip here.
I'm talking the whole place is dedicated to.
Oh
claw
wow,
machines.
I'm seeing this, and they're of all varying sizes.
Oh yeah,
this is interesting.
Like it is the most bizarre.
Hold on now. Do they serve booze too?
I have no idea.
And food. I bet it's one of those things.
I have no idea, but
okay.
There's so many people out there. I'm trying to see if I can find like just like a big picture of it, because I thought it was just like, oh, it's this little section at the mall, you know, like a pop-up shop. No, it is like a full-on place.
You seem really excited about this.
Well, it's what's strange to me is the people's it started apparently. I think it was either in Japan or an Asian country where this became a thing, where you go into the store and you buy tokens. So it's like $20 for 21 tokens or something like that. And the machine, they actually have like service people buy on the row of machines. And that's what I read this whole thing. People were reviewing it, and like they went into this in-depth thing. It's like, oh, they have 10 machines per service person, and every 40 minutes they're shuffling the goods.
Oh my God!
I'm telling you,
I got this down.
And I was like, what the goods? Because at first I thought it was like a gambling thing, where like, oh, you pay money to get tokens, and if you get like the ball and you open the ball, it has $200.
Sure, yeah.
No, it's called plushies.
Okay.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is so we could sell our tortilla wrapped owl.
Okay. At one of these. Gotcha.
It's all plushies, and a lot of places, depending on where you go, this one guy was like, this place doesn't sell Disney merch. They sell like DreamWorks merch.
Oh, yes.
For prizes. But the prizes aren't collected at the back; they're collected at the machine.
Okay, yeah, like normal.
So, yeah, but like it's just the whole store's like this, and apparently
this is fascinating. I can tell you're really into this.
Well,
are you a claw game kind of guy?
Well, I mean, I am pretty good at it, and
not to brag or anything.
No,
right?
I'm pretty damn good.
I always get the feeling that claw is not calibrated correctly. I'm like, I always feel like they should have a little more power because I'm right on top of that plushie, and it picks it up, and then you're like, yes. Here it comes, baby. Come to Papa, and then he just drops it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Well, so this one guy had
put a little more hydraulics in that thing.
This one guy had a theory at this place, or these places, where since there's so many service people constantly working, what they try to. This guy's like, my theory is if they see that you're on a machine, there's certain mechanical things they can change to increase the claw strength, so you can actually try to get, so you can finally win one.
Exactly. So it is something that they can monkey with. That's what I thought. Because it does seem as though some of those can pick up multiple goods and you're winning all the time, and then others are just, I can't quite pick up this plushie. It's so heavy.
Yeah, like like this guy I'm showing, he's got like a big Charizard. I doubt a claw can pick that up.
I was going to say, that claw would have to be 4 feet long or wide to pick up one of those.
Well, I was reading that for like the kids, they do have an exchange service where you can like, if you turn in like 10 small ones and get like a medium one.
Okay.
Maybe that's how you.
Maybe. That makes more sense.
But I was just amazed. I was like, this is insane to me.
It is pretty insane.
And I like games. Like I'm going to Joysticks Friday, pinball repair place. They open it up every first and last Friday of the month. And then conveniently, there's a secret door that opens up and there's a bar. So
imagine that.
It's adults only, so you can go play. I think they have like 100+ pinball machines.
Nice.
But yeah, I saw this and I wanted to talk to you about it because I was like, that's kind of a little wild.
Yeah. Well, hey man, I'm going to let the onesies know that this is a double episode. So I'm going to be out of town next week. I don't know if you're showing the onesie.
No,
you can just show them this one.
This is what Andrew wants.
I'm chatting. Oh yeah,
these little. What do you call it? Like anime girls?
Yes. I'm totally into that. I'm going to be traveling next week, and I'm not going to be able to do this show. So what we're going to do today, folks, is record a double episode.
Yeah.
We're going to do our normal break in the show and then come right back and continue the conversation. So next week's episode might sound a little different formatically, but we want to make sure we're continuing to bring you the fun and frivolity. Not missing a week here, so just a heads up.
Well, I mean, it's more of a thing where we have so much to talk about.
It's incredible how much. Really.
Claw machines.
Who else is going to bring the community information like this?
I like the idea of the tortilla wrapped owl. I think that is a must-have item.
That's a delicatessen
as a onesie. And then, of course, we would sell a onesie.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah. I don't think about that.
Yeah, so what we could do is you get those hoodies, and when you put the hood over, it's a guy's face. And it could be my face. Creepy. Or it could be your face.
Oh God, that sounds like it's out of my nightmares. To be honest with you.
Well, what we'll do is we'll do one of those private towels. They're private part towels. You ever seen one of those?
Merkin.
Yeah. No, you know what I'm talking about?
I have not seen a towel specifically designed for privates. No, outside of.
Well, no, it has a private on it.
Oh, gotcha.
And then like one side's small, one side's big, and then if you turn it inside out, it's different colors. So like if you put it just right, it's like a big hulky guy, and it shows everything.
It's kind of it's like a tuxedo T-shirt except for genitals.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. When I saw that, I go, I wonder how fast you get kicked out of a place for using that.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Yeah.
Well, actually, let's talk about that for a second.
Oh God.
Well, no, I saw an article. It could be fake, whatever. But some guy got kicked off a Delta flight because you fly a lot, and people. I'm amazed. Like people are pissing on each other on a flight.
Yeah.
And then,
urine everywhere on these planes.
They're just unzipping and going, dude. But then this guy in particular was apparently wearing a shirt that had like Donald Trump on it, flicking people off, and it said "Hawk Tua."
Oh my God.
Right?
Jeez.
And I was thinking, like, okay, why would you want to wear that shirt? You know, like I think it's funny, but it's like, come on, man, like you're inviting people to be upset at you because it's kind of like the people that wear like the FU shirts and stuff like that.
So inappropriate.
But it's for Florida University. But they asked him to turn it inside out, and he did. But I think someone in the line of communication already called the police or whatever, so they had to escort him off, even though he's like, yeah, I'll turn it inside out.
Seems like there are other things we can kick
I don't know if that's a real
planes
story
for.
or not.
I don't know, man.
Because I feel like a lot of those stories are made up. But I wanted to ask you, like those kind of shirts and everything. Would you ever own one of those?
No, it's not. I'm not into that stuff. What are you trying to say when you get those types of shirts?
Because there's certain shirts that are pretty out there.
Yeah, they really are. Speaking of Hawk Tua, when you said that, it reminded me. On the way over here to the studio, I saw a Chevy Silverado with a bumper sticker on the back window that took up about a third of the back window that said Hawk Tua, and then had a silhouette of a girl spitting. And I thought, what type of person is so enamored with that viral moment that you decide to put that on the back of your truck?
It's going to be the new Calvin sticker.
It was very similar to the Calvin sticker, peeing on something. Yeah. But, I mean, it was a funny viral moment, but did you think it was really worth putting on the back of your car? I don't know.
Well, the guy, I feel like
it was massive.
Well, I feel like if you wear those kind of shirts, because there's different shirts that are funny that aren't vulgar. Like this shirt was pretty obviously like vulgar because it like literally had two giant fingers. Like Donald Trump was flicking, like it was probably about as big as people's chests.
Yeah,
like the fingers.
I may have seen this actually.
And because I know some shirts have things like that, but you can't really tell until you get like literally behind the line with the guy, and you're like, oh man, that's a naked chick on there. And it just amazes me, especially with the Hawk Tua, and then someone designed that shirt, and I like that idea. Someone came up with it. I like it. Same thing with the back of the car sticker. Someone goes, I want that on the back of my car. He either made it himself or he found it. And unfortunately, I don't think that girl's making any money from it.
Oh, she's making money. Maybe not that specific sticker, but she's making money, man. Speaking of Donald Trump, it did get me thinking about something the other day. If Kamala Harris wins the presidency, we will have, for the very first time, a first man. Her husband, what's his name? I wrote down Doug Emhoff. And I think it's kind of a funny scenario to think about because first ladies typically have some sort of pet cause that they get behind. You know, I think with like Nancy Reagan, it was, say no to drugs. And I think Michelle Obama, she had something to do with like
she had the food.
Obesity, childhood obesity or something like that.
That worked out.
I don't know what Melania did, but wouldn't it be funny if old Doug there really leans into this and like his pet cause is like fantasy football and like Hooters and drinking beer and stuff, and that's his cause?
Man, imagine if John Daly was the first man.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even have to be John Daly, though.
No, you just described John Daly.
He's like really into online gambling, and he like promotes it and things like that.
I mean,
he's so great.
Because
he's already the second man we've ever had.
Yeah, but see, like,
but second,
realistically,
women don't really do much.
Realistically, he would, if the first man, I could see doing something with the National Park Service.
Yeah,
like go hiking, go kill stuff. Be like a man. Like, that's what I can see, like, an actual first man doing. It's like, hey, let's promote people going to the national parks.
Yeah, but that's legit. I'm making it much more entertaining.
If it were me, I would actually do, I would fight for the rights of the sex workers. I think that would be a constant
because, of course,
headline,
you would.
Constant headline. What about your wife?
First man Schisler really out there supporting the blue light, red light district.
Can you imagine not propaganda, like them taking pictures of me? Oh, I'm leaving the Gold Cup at 3 a.m. and I'm like, I'm just here to support.
That's right.
That's great. And I'm like, I have glitter on one side of my face, and I'm like, hey, I'm just here to support.
Smell like strawberries.
Yeah, and but see, what's funny about that is there would be a legit following for that because people are always talking about the rights of a sex worker. I'm like, there is a legit argument.
Oh, there would be some people that support you, no doubt.
But
There'd also be guys that would support
me
my
too.
fantasy football, gambling, and drinking beer cause as well.
Yeah, but see, the problem with I always feel with the gambling stuff is it's too organized. Like I can see you and me get into it. Like we're gambling.
It's a joke, Dick. It's just a joke.
But no, I'm talking about if you look at all these apps. Like I don't know what's legit or how it works, and there was like a gimmick. I'm like, can I just not bet with my buddy?
Well, you can.
That's
kind of the point. Yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about.
But if you want to go big, you got to go offshore, dog. You got to go offshore.
Is that how you go big?
Well, that's how you gamble online here in Texas because it's illegal. So you have to do offshore stuff.
So how's the FanDuel stuff? Like FanDuel and
FanDuel's
DraftKings?
not legal here in Texas. No.
I can't download the app.
You probably can't. I mean, you could at one point, but you can't place bets here. If your IP is in Texas, I don't believe that you can gamble.
Right,
so you have to do some offshore things.
Yeah, that's why I was curious because I'm not a gambler.
Speaking
at
of
all.
gambling and football, I was at the same park that I was doing my exercising with the other day, where I passed the guy 3 times and he waved to me awkwardly every time.
Oh, you're hoping to see him again?
And I saw that's where I have to go to get my steps in. And I saw in the middle there, or off to the side, Pee-wee football practice. And I couldn't and these were little guys. These were like 8, 9, 10-year-olds, and I couldn't help but thinking, if I were to suit up, I could totally wreck that league, man. I was like picturing myself going through there and just plowing through 8-year-olds like, yeah.
You got some issues, dude.
But then the thought crossed my mind, what if I didn't? Like, what if I suited up and went out there and still got my ass handed to me? Because I've never played football. I'm not a man of stature, but I did see guys that were probably a foot and a half shorter than me thinking, yeah, I could take them. Is that wrong? I mean, am I the ass for thinking that?
Yeah, 100%.
I think I also have talked about dominating on 8-foot rims in the elementary school basketball courts as well. But
hey, I can get the app.
I don't know. You can't get the app, but you may not be able to place a bet, I bet. I'm going to have to look into it. I know that gambling here in Texas is not necessarily legal, so you have to go through other means. Maybe you go through DraftKings and then they go to an offshore. They're like the intermediary if you're not in a state that allows it.
It's interesting. And besides you wanting to beat up Pee-wee football players.
Yeah. All right, man, let's go ahead and get this show started. Dick, have you heard of Reflect Orbital? This is a California-based startup that has its sights set on a futuristic goal, providing sunlight on demand. This is interesting, but basically, Reflect Orbital wants to use orbiting mirrors in outer space to reflect the sunlight down on demand. So picture this. It's like a Tuesday night and you're outside grilling. You're like, I could really use some light. You open up the Reflect Orbital app and redirect a mirror so that you can have some light on your grill. Supposedly, this is what they are proposing. But what I think is interesting is that each satellite will omit a 33 square foot reflective mylar mirror. And or each satellite will be equipped with that. But I think, and it's capable of providing up to 30 minutes worth of sunlight. But I think it's not very direct. I mean, I think it's like 2 or 3 blocks wide. I mean, by the time this light gets down from outer space, you're lighting up your entire neighborhood.
I'm already, because I'm on the little article you sent, and there's kind of an example of it.
Yeah, I think it's all hypothetical at this point. I think they're just proposing, and they're asking for cash. Right, maybe
what a cash grab.
Yeah, as a
because I would definitely
funding exercise.
Definitely do this to mess with you.
Well, that's the thing. So say you're,
think about it. Like, I know you have a big day tomorrow, and I'm like, can we have 4 hours of sunlight on his house,
just shining it right? Yeah, this is the dumbest thing. This will never ever happen.
Well, like in Alaska, I imagine it'd be useful.
I suppose, but even then, you're kind of used to.
Do they have the more daylight, or they have darkness?
Both. It depends on the time of year. It's either all daylight or all darkness, essentially. There's very little in between.
Is that where that 30 Days of Night
I don't
movie?
know.
You ever seen that movie?
No.
Pretty good.
But speaking
You've
of
never
movies,
seen that movie?
Speaking of movies, wasn't it the Christmas Vacation where he turns on the lights and the neighbors get blinded by it? That's kind of what I'm picturing here. Jim's like grilling again. Poof, turns on his Reflect Orbital.
No, what I would definitely do is, depending on how bright it is, if I was a sports person, I'd put it on people's football fields and like kill the grass.
Oh, there you go. Or I was thinking more effectively just during games.
No.
It says the idea is to make solar energy more available when it's most needed, not just during daylight hours, but also in the early morning and evening when electricity demand is typically higher. This could potentially increase the efficiency and profitability of solar power generation, blah, blah. No, this is not going to happen. This is the politically correct statement that they're putting out to try and
what I like about it is
shim some money off people.
You're going to pay us money to shine light on something that you need to collect to have energy, where you could have just skipped that step and just got coal energy.
Could have, but what's the fun in that?
That's true. Besides messing with people.
It says they plan to test their first satellite in 2025.
Oh, I can already see.
Interest in the project has been strong, with over 30,000 applications already submitted by individuals and organizations eager to participate in the initial offering of Sunlight on Demand.
So here's Andrew. It's a Tuesday morning. He gets up and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be late to work."
I love these little playlets that you do.
I want to be late to work. I'm not going to call him. To do satellite 45 southbound. Let's shine the light right on the drivers, and hopefully there's a wreck. And then it's just like this 10-car pileup. I can't make it in on time. There's a 10-car pileup.
Suddenly this beam of light just shines down on everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. Oh, man. So anyways, moving on, a 10-year-old girl was stuck in a swing in Oakland the other day and was rescued by fire.
Move on. I just had this idea. Imagine being an alien, right?
Yeah.
And they're like a couple planets away.
All right, imagining.
And all of a sudden, everyone's using the service. They're like, "Are they having a rave over there on Earth?" Because like, bing, 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 bing. It's like,
see all these lights.
All these people are getting sucked up into ships, or something's happening?
They're stealing our bit, man. They're stealing our bit.
That's pretty funny. Sorry to interrupt.
Now, a 10-year-old girl was stuck in a swing in an Oakland park and was rescued by firefighters using the jaws of life.
Ooh.
So this is really weird because I'm thinking, no, there's not a video, although I wish there was. Because the jaws of life, if you know what that is, this is that big mechanical tool that is typically used to open up cars like a can opener after accidents and people aren't able to evacuate a vehicle. And I'm thinking, this little 10-year-old girl was in a swing in a park. Couldn't they just use like some Crisco and a shoehorn or something? But no, they decided to use the jaws of life. But what's more interesting about this, Dick, is soon after, in all the commotion of saving this little girl, a thief came by and made off with the life-saving hydraulic tool. So basically, these firefighters are looking around afterwards going, hey, you seen my jaws of life? I set them down over there. Where? I don't know. They're not in the truck. Basically, a homeless dude walks by, sees these, and goes, "Hey, this is pretty cool," and takes it back to his homeless encampment. I just don't know what you do with them.
Again, it's kind of like the train horn idea. I wanted that, and so it's like, Jaws of Life could be on that list.
It is kind of cool. I mean, because look, have you ever seen somebody own something like Jaws of Life? I haven't. It would be a pretty cool piece to own. You walk into someone's house and be like, "Is that what what? Why does, huh?" And then they go, "Oh, it's just Dick. Got it. That makes sense."
I have trouble opening up pickle jars.
They said the tool is worth about $15,000 and weighs over 50 pounds. Have you ever seen one in use? It's pretty violent looking, which is why I'm surprised they use this for a swing. I mean, it's kind of, it's like massive scissors, essentially.
It's cool.
Yeah, it says somebody homeless probably came around here and picked it up, and they thought they could make some money off of it. Yeah, good luck trying to sell that. I can't imagine there's a lot of them out on the open market. So if you're the guy selling it, I think it's kind of a red flag.
Hold on. Give me a second here. I got an idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go to Facebook Marketplace.
And type in Jaws of Life to see if it's in there.
I'm just curious.
Oh, man. Well, I think this homeless guy was pretty jacked to be able to go in there and pick it up. That, and I think the firefighters were not paying attention. If you don't see some guy walk off with your, Jaws of Life. Any luck in purchasing said Jaws of Life?
It might be an inside thing, dude.
Oh, so one of his buddies wanted one?
Yeah.
Hey, go and put this in the back seat.
No, it's always one of those guys probably owes DraftKings a lot of money, and it's like, I got to sell this thing. All right, let's see.
Yeah, you probably are not seeing any for a reason, Dick.
No, hey, I got a Jaws of Life.
Unless they're called something else, like a hydraulic rescue tool. I don't know. I'm thinking Harbor Freight's probably got one for $30, right? They got everything.
No, they have mini ones.
No, I want the full deal. All right, let's move on then. Australian employees now have the right to disconnect from work after hours. You know, it's funny, we talked about air conditioning in prisons the other day, and you said it could potentially get out of control because air conditioning will then become a quote-unquote right. Well, now Australian employees have the right to disconnect from work. Now, what this means is essentially after hours, if your boss emails you or contacts you, you have the right to say, "Nah, I don't have to talk to you right now," which is pretty cool. And I'm old enough to remember getting my first cell phone from work and thinking, I don't want this. I don't want these people to be able to contact me.
100%.
And they were like, oh, no, it's just so that you can have email when you're on the go. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. And now it's to the point where you're expected at 10 o'clock to prepare for a meeting, perhaps the next morning.
That's why I turn off my phone when I get ready for bed.
No, you don't. You just go to different websites.
No, I turn off my phone. Like I'm talking about like right when I get into bed and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to go to bed. Phone off.
Okay. Well, now you have the right if you were in Australia.
Well, I think it's more of the people who hire you always try to find reasons to fire you sometimes. So that's probably what it is. Like you can't fire somebody for not responding to an email past 6, like a reasonable
Right.
hour.
You can't say, hey, I sent you that email last night. Why didn't you respond? Sir, you don't have the right to send that to me.
Well, I think if I was ever in a job, I would definitely set that boundary. That's not unreasonable.
Well, it's creeped over the time. It slowly happens, and you just it's because we're never really, especially with remote work too. We're never really away from the office anymore. It used to be you went to work, you worked certain hours, you clocked in, clocked out. Now it's blending back into the home.
It depends on the occupation, but it's also
no doubt.
It's also one of those things as a superior, you kind of like. It's not a big deal. I'm just emailing you. Like, I'm emailing you late. Why don't you respond late? Like,
right. One person doesn't have a problem with it, but another one does. And you get in that issue where somebody single or young doesn't have a spouse or kids, and the other person has got a family life and has things to do once they get home.
Got a Coke habit. We get it.
Exactly.
No,
it says
how would you feel if I texted or called you or, at 9 p.m.?
I mean, it's not the same because you're not necessarily my boss, but what are you texting me for, Dick?
I don't know. You text me all the time.
I do. It's about the show.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make content for the show and that. That's because I text you and half the time you don't ever respond back.
No, I hate my phone.
It says now globally it's the norm to have emails, SMS, phone calls, and whatever outside the hours, even on holidays. Australians worked on average 281 hours of unpaid overtime in 2023, according to the last survey, blah, 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 which is about $130 billion.
Cool.
Wow. On this same line, workers in Japan can't quit their jobs because it's culturally against the norm. It's very difficult. So they have been hiring resignation experts to help them get out of their current jobs. The expectations over there are through the roof that people, you're expected to work long hours. You're expected, well, it says a typical 9 to 9 workday is the bare minimum. It says Yuki Watanabe, who used to spend 12 hours a day toiling away in the office. And she knew she had to quit, but there was one thing in the way: Japan's notoriously top-down work culture. In fact, I've heard where people will put in their resignation letters, and the boss will just tear it up right in front of them and say, no, you're not quitting this job.
I love
Or they will literally physically assault them if they try and quit. Yeah. So there is a burgeoning new business of resignation experts.
They hand you like a knife, and what they call it, the Sudoku or something like that. We had to commit suicide because the samurai thing. Like you commit suicide because it's the honorable thing to do. You don't lose in battle.
Okay. And so instead of losing in battle, you just kill yourself?
Well, it's called something. Look.
Well, it says at a cost of 22,000 yen, or just $150, or 12,000 yen.
Seppuku.
Seppuku.
It is a native Japanese form of ritualistic suicide by disembowelment.
Good grief.
It was originally reserved for samurai and their code of honor, but was also practiced by other Japanese during the something era, World War II, to restore honor for themselves or their families.
I think I would rather do this resignation company rather than Sudoku or whatever you just called it. Saduki.
Seppuku. But
It's Mormi. This is Momuri. It means, quote, I can't do this anymore in Japanese. And you can hire one of these companies, like I said, for about $150 or 22,000 yen. It pledges to help employees tender their resignations, negotiate with their companies, and provide recommendations for lawyers if legal disputes arise.
Yeah.
And if that all fails, just kill yourself, I guess.
Well,
just disembowel yourself.
Well, the whole quitting culture.
What do you think about this, huh?
Well, I mean, you got to save your family's honor. Well,
I can't come to work today. My bowels are on my desk.
No, like the whole quitting culture is interesting to me because, like, that's one of my favorite moments. And when people get a new job, they have to do the whole like weekly orientation, and there's always that moment. It was like, hey, if you ever quit, you have to give a 2 weeks notice. Then they give you like this list, and if you don't do this list, you won't get paid.
That's correct.
And what's amazing to me is I bet there's a high percentage of people like, I quit, meaning I'm not coming back tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And
then they don't get like a benefit or
that's right. Yeah, they typically don't get their 2 weeks. They may not even get their vacation pay or whatever if you don't follow the rules of quitting and giving that 2 to 3 week resignation notice.
Well, I always just I like that mindset where it's like when you're ready to quit.
I had a job one time where I put in a 2 week notice and they said, no, you can go ahead and leave right now. I'm like, but I putting in my 2 weeks. They're like, no, just go. I'm like, but do I still get paid for that 2 weeks? No, you just need to go now. I was young, and I'm like, I don't think that's how it works. But I guess their thought is if you've already put in your 2 weeks notice, you're more likely a liability to the company.
Yeah.
You're probably have already got 1 foot out the door. You're not doing you're not doing any benefit to the company because you're probably thinking about your other job or playing Xbox because you don't care. You've already told them I'm leaving. So yeah, it is an interesting scenario.
Yeah, I guess the more complex job you get, that's why they add these different ladders you got to climb. But again, it's the quitting thing's funny to me, especially in Japan, because like the culture or the family thing is a big deal.
Yep.
So like if you're a known quitter,
yeah, it's different.
Like I remember my ex always had a new job every year and a half. And I remember my dad being like really bothered by that.
Yeah, it's not more so. It's recently that is more so common. But back in, quote, the day when your dad was younger, you started a job and basically you stayed there till you died.
Well, and when I realized in that occupation, it was actually financially beneficial to her because she worked in an occupation. She's a nurse. And basically what I discovered was every 2-3 years, a hospital, like say there's 10 hospitals in the area. Every 2 to 3 years, there's like a rotating shortage somewhere. And so she could work at this hospital for 2 years, and then the hospital across the street's like, we have a shortage. We will literally, it's like, because, most people get like half a dollar raise, dollar raise. No, she could get like a $10 raise.
Wow.
And so she's like, oh, I'm going to get a job over there.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what I would do. I would either Sabuku myself or get more.
Well, this is pretty interesting. It says from another quitter that would have been straightforward business, but it took a bizarre turn. The person was dragged to a temple in Kyoto by their boss. The worker was told to go to the temple because they were cursed. Good God. It says people call them crying, telling them they can't leave. It says some of their bosses harass them if they try to resign, including stopping by their apartments to ring the doorbell repeatedly and refuse to leave. Good God.
Dude.
Yeah, last...
Whoa.
Yep.
So I looked up Sabuku, right?
We're still on this. What is it called? Subuku?
Seppuku. Seppuku. Seppuku.
Seppuku. All right.
It means cutting the belly.
And
yeah,
we've covered this.
Okay, so I went and I was scrolling down. I was like, I wonder what the last known person was to do this. What year do you think?
Oh, it's going to surprise you. You want to say like, oh, it was like 1642 or whatever. No, it was probably like 2020.
Well, the last one is 2001.
Okay, yeah.
And it was a gold medalist in the 1964 Summer Olympics, Aseo Nkuma. But
I just wanted to quit his job, man.
Well, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. So this guy was a Tokyo police officer.
Jeez.
And then he became an executive at some construction company.
Mm-hmm.
And he continued to help out the judo community. That's what he won the gold medal in. and it didn't say he just had committed suicide, and they called it
Look, there's better ways to do it, man. That's all I'm saying.
possibly due to the financial losses suffered by his company. So
No, there you go. Well, staying on the...
I think that's what CEOs should sign on for, because they get paid so much money, right? And it's like, hey,
if there's not certain financial goals that are met.
Here's your 2-week notice options. So if the company loses this much percentage when you give your 2 weeks, you got to cut your belly.
Oh, jeez.
You don't like it?
No,
you don't
that's
like
brutal. A Wells Fargo employee at a corporate office in Arizona clocked into what would be her last ever shift a few Fridays ago. That's because her body was found 4 days later at her cubicle desk, where she had died sometime during the week, the Temple Police Department has reported. So get this. This woman goes to work, dies in her cubicle, and no one notices it for 4 days.
I feel like that's a deleted scene
Bruh.
from Office Space.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. They said on August 20th, security on site reported finding an employee possibly dead in a cubicle at around 4:55 p.m. But some people were starting to report smell in the office. Like, what? I think this doesn't smell right. Someone defecated. But, well, the smell of death is, from what I've heard,
that's the
you don't
first thing
mistake
you
it for
smell.
anything else. You know exactly what it is.
You poop yourself first, and then it starts to break down, and then that's...
Well, I'm halfway there then.
Unless you didn't eat a lot.
But it is pretty sad, though, that people were passing by this person and probably saw her.
Bye, Susie.
And yeah,
have a good weekend, Susie.
She's just napping on the job.
Yeah.
God, but can you imagine seeing her in the same clothes you pass by when you leave one day? See ya. You wake up the next morning, go to work. She's still there in the same clothes. At some point, there's got to be an alarm bell that goes off here. God, how flippin' sad, though.
Well, hon, did you tell me the days? Does that include a weekend?
Said 4 days.
Because that's not really fair. Like, say she died on a Friday.
Oh, that's true, too.
It's like no one was in the office for 2 days.
Yep. She clocked in on a Friday morning.
Yeah. So that's really not on.
She died sometime during the weekend, and then, okay, so yeah, you're right. Maybe 2 of those days don't count. But then they didn't find her till Tuesday, though.
Yo.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, man, it's a pretty good time to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the most unattractive hobbies that a man can have. Right here on the Audience of One Show.
I like it. I like it.
Car enthusiasts of Conroe, FM 104.5 and 106.1 Lone Star Community Radio invites you to shift into gear every Monday from 1 to 2 with Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy for news on all things automotive in the greater Houston-Conroe area. Can't make a live show? We've got you covered. You can find all of our uncut content, including full episodes on Spotify, iTunes, Play Store, YouTube, Facebook, and irlonestar.com. Again, that's Mondays 1 to 2, Cruising Car Club Talk with Robert and Randy. See you there.
And we're back here. I don't know why you can't hear anything. You're the one that jiggles everything.
I cannot hear a thing.
I can hear you perfectly. Why don't you unplug the back and plug it back in? Have you tried to turn it off and turn it back on?
Yeah, it's loose cords in the back, man.
Yeah, so now it works.
No, I gotta hold it.
So it works if you hold it?
Yeah, only if I hold it.
That's what she said, right?
Yeah, this is bad.
I'll come up. You want me to come over there and fix it for you while you talk?
Wait, right there. I'm not gonna move.
Yeah.
It's working right now.
There we go.
It was just a bunch of buzzing in my ear. Anyways, I had this scenario happen to me the other day, and I don't know, maybe you can relate. I was running errands, and I decided to get lunch at a fast food restaurant, but I was by myself, and I went through the drive-thru like normal, and then I did the trick of driving into the parking lot, parking, and just eating by myself in the car.
Can't you not eat inside?
Absolutely, I could have. But that's what I'm saying. I did this thing where I didn't want to go in by myself, so I ate by myself in the car, in the parking lot. Have you ever?
Sad.
It was the most beaten and depressing thing I think I've done in quite some time. Have you ever done this before?
No.
So I've done it a few times. I just hadn't done it in a while. And what's odd about it, though, is I noticed I was not the only person doing this. I looked over and there was somebody else eating. There's someone who parked at an adjacent parking lot. They were eating as well. There may have been some tears involved. But there is nothing more beaten than that, man. Like eating by yourself fast food in the parking lot.
That's so true.
It is. And then I'd even to add insult to injury, you come home, you throw the bag away that the food came in, and like the next day you open it up to throw trash. You open the trash can up to throw trash in, and you see the bag, and you're reminded of your poor, dietary decision in that moment where you sat there and ate by yourself. So quickly covered up with the paper. It was so sad. It was so sad. Just a painful reminder.
Unless it was McDonald's, then I totally get it.
It may or may not have been McDonald's. I don't know, man.
But no, it is a sad point of view because I'm actually pretty particular like how I eat. Like I don't like being bothered when I'm eating. I like having a full meal
in your car. Then you should start eating in your car.
No, I don't.
By yourself.
I like to sit.
No
down
one's gonna
and
bother you. You're sitting in your car.
I like sitting. I don't mind sitting in fast food restaurants at all.
So it is kind of a pain because you don't have a table. I mean, fundamentally, it's much more difficult to do what I did, and I don't know why I felt more comfortable doing that. But yet there was a certain sadness associated with it, no doubt.
Like going to like James Cooney Island, Whataburger, Chick-fil-A, I'll go inside all the time because it's like, I want to eat. I don't want to eat while driving. I don't want to eat in the car. So.
Yeah, well, I did. Have you been watching the Paralympics? We had the Olympics last month. I think they took a week or two break, and then the Paralympics have been going on. I think they went on...
They had to install the ramps.
The ramps? I think you just made a shot at handicapped people, and I don't appreciate it.
When I meant Paris probably isn't handicap friendly.
I bet it is.
I bet it's not.
One of the things that I guess I was not aware.
During the Olympics, like they had the original Olympics, and then they're like, "Oh, hey, we have to change every dynamic of this place to fit disabled people."
Mm-hmm. Maybe. I don't know if it's in the exact same place. It might be.
It is.
Okay.
I didn't know that's usually how it works.
Okay. Well, I never really watched the Paralympics, and for whatever reason, I'm getting a lot of updates in my social media feed about it. I'm not able to watch it live because I don't think they package it up in prime time.
You haven't seen that dude swim without arms? And he just slams his head into the
wall. I'm getting to all this, man. It's wild out there. Wild. So they normally during the Olympics, the regular Olympics, so to speak, package it and play it back in prime time if it's done overseas in a time that's not appropriate for the viewing audience here. Yeah. Well, they haven't done that for this as far as I can tell. So if you're going to watch it live, you got to get up at like 3 a.m. and watch it till like 8 a.m. or something, which I have not done. But I have seen some of the highlights, and as you indicated, there's a dude that swims with no arms, and it is wild,
and
man.
Jacks his head into the wall.
He does. I mean, how else? I mean, he's going as fast as he can.
I mean, but it's just because he has to get the fastest time.
Correct.
So he's going full speed ahead. Like, I mean, that's what...
Slam, yeah.
Why? When I saw that, I go, man, that guy's going to be messed up in a couple of years.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive what some of these folks can do with their disabilities. The one thing, though, that I guess I didn't realize is that... little people compete in the Paralympics. I did not know, and I guess it makes sense because it is to a certain degree a disability, but I just didn't know. And the clip that's been very viral is the badminton volley or rally that went on for 2 or 3 minutes, and it is impressive to watch those guys go at it. Maybe a little humorous here and there, but I'm really impressed because I certainly couldn't do what those guys did. But I just didn't know that little people compete in the Paralympics. So,
well, see, one thing that always fascinated me about the Paralympics, and I think we kind of talked about that. We talked about this before, is how you as a judge or as the organizer of the games, you have to set certain rules. And there's like, if you go to the website, there's like, I guess they have different classifications of a disability. So,
absolutely.
So they have para, which is probably paraplegic, or something's wrong with one limb on your body. Mm-hmm. But then they have other things that's like, you just like straight up wheelchair, like wheelchair rugby, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair basketball, wheelchair tennis, wheelchair. And then that's pretty much it. Like, and then there's blind football. I don't think they have blind shooting, blind tennis, blind.
They've got blind soccer, for crying out loud.
That's blind football.
Oh, okay, sorry. I'm an American.
Yeah,
America.
This is the world we're talking about here.
So I've seen some people making comments of why do these people wear face coverings when they're blind? Well, the obvious answer there is there's different levels of blindness, right? Not everybody is just completely blind, and so they put the face coverings to sort of even the playing field.
You really didn't know why?
No, that is why. But go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Because everyone knows blind people are cheaters.
Well, that's what I'm getting into next. Is
big old
people
cheaters.
who game the system at the Paralympics. And apparently this is kind of a problem.
Really?
Because despite the rigors of the classification process, intentional misrepresentation does indeed happen.
Really?
Yeah. So obviously some of the ones are lying about how blind you actually are, although that one to me doesn't make a lot of sense because you have to wear the face coverings if you're entering as a blind person anyways. And I'm thinking, well, then maybe you could practice as a sighted person, but that wouldn't help you if you're used to being sighted and then all of a sudden come the Olympics, you have to cover up. So I'm not sure how that is an advantage to you, but it says there are accounts of athletes who exhaust themselves before classification so that they seem weaker than they really are. They might stiffen their muscles with cold showers, take a plunge into the snow, or wrap their arms and legs with overly tight bandages. Athletes might also tend to be less coordinated or weaker, fake slower reaction times, or even feign having poor vision, as I indicated before. Man, I don't know. I just could not sleep at night knowing that I got this gold medal in the Paralympics because I beat up on a bunch of legitimately handicapped people. It just does not seem like something you could take pride in.
There's certain things, unfortunately, like they like there's bocce ball. But it's weird because you have to be like fully. You have to use your mouth. Like you can't use any of your limbs. And it's like, okay. How did this start?
This is perhaps the most infamous case of intentional misrepresentation is when the Spanish basketball team that won the gold in the intellectual impairment class at the 2000 Paralympic Games in Sydney. So you know what we're talking about when we say intellectually impaired. Shortly after the conclusion of the games, a team member revealed that 10 of the 12 athletes on the team were not actually mentally impaired. So that means, if you're reading between the lines here, these 10 guys had to act as if they were mentally impaired in order to win a gold medal. Now, here's the thing. Do you hang that medal up on your wall if you're a person who is not mentally
100%.
You're like, oh, really? What did you win the gold in? The mentally impaired Olympics.
He's like, no, see, on the face value, I won it for here, but real value, I pretended to be this. But see, that's what, again, that's what I don't really like. I mean, the Paralympics is such a weird, Paralympics is such a weird thing because the classifications of special needs, because they do have the special games, but that's not what this is.
Correct.
But like, then you look at certain ones.
I think these are people who may have had an injury of some sort to their mental capacity.
But see, again, it's
not
like,
Special Olympics.
Because it's, like, for example, if you look at canoeing, that stuff's wild to me. Because how do you make the playing field even? Because say you don't have any legs. Well, in canoeing, you can still canoe. But say you have one leg, you have an advantage over a guy with no legs, or vice versa. And I don't really know, like, especially like in the track and field. Like, say you're missing a leg and you have one of those crazy saber legs or whatever, but then a person with two of those saber legs is going to be faster than one.
Maybe it's maybe they do separate them as to one leg missing, two legs missing, above and below the knee. I think are certain classifications because if it's above the knee amputee, that's much more of a difficult way to run than below the knee because you don't have that ability to bend. So I know that's a separate classification. But anyways, watching it has been quite impressive. Some of these people are inspirational to say the least.
The best is the barefoot archery.
Yes. In fact, the best archer in the world does not have any arms. And it does beg the question, does that mean it's easier to use your legs rather than your arms if the best archer in the world has no arms?
I wonder how often he has to clean his feet.
I mean...
Because if you think about it, he's drawing it back to his nose. And he's like...
You probably just get used to it. You go nose blind to it, man.
That's how you get your opponent right there. You go by wherever he is and you get his shoes and you soak it in like fish oil or something. So when he like puts his shoes on, he's like, I'm going to the thing, and then like right when he gets to the first knot, he knocks the bow, and he's like, I want to get. Oh God!
You are all about cheating, aren't you? You are all about gaining an advantage. I love it.
Well, I mean that's what life's all about, is finding out fun ways to do it, right?
Yeah, it said in the 2016 Paralympic Games, the IPC investigated allegations against more than 80 athletes from 24 countries across 6 sports. There's countless examples here.
I'll be sitting there at the
I don't know, man.
blind football and be like, you want to see if these guys are full of cheaters? Let me get my app, get the satellite. We need to go over this little.
Oh my!
Let's blind them.
You shine the light right, and however many of them react,
Oh my
to
God.
the light.
I'm telling you, like,
Busted.
there's so many cool things you could do, and but what's so wild to me is the Paralympics has a gambling aspect.
I was going to cover that next. You know, we talked about gambling on the Special Olympics. I suppose you could gamble on the Paralympics as well. Somebody's willing to take those bets, I imagine. There's a casino somewhere.
I got a great Special Olympics story. My sister, that's what she does.
Mm-hmm.
She is some type of, not necessarily like a teacher, but she's qualified where she can diagnose people and then do all that kind of stuff. And she travels around different school districts, and she's like one of the main people that helps, diagnose your child.
Okay.
But she also participates a lot in the Special Olympics, helping people out.
Yeah, as like a hugger and helps organize events and things.
She runs like she.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Hold on. She's competing?
Well, the kid is in a wheelchair, and he can't move. Like
Gotcha. Yeah, she's assisting.
But then I go, isn't that you basically running him?
Well, that's our quick hit actually at the end of the show.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But because I went to a couple of them with her. And I always give her a hard time. I'm like,
don't give her a hard time.
I go, clearly the other teacher trained harder than you.
That is our quick hit.
And he had a titanium wheelchair. You know, when they have the titanium wheelchair, that's light as a feather right there. And but no, it's pretty wild. And but then again, who cares? Have fun.
There is, I think, an 8'1" seated volleyball player from Israel, I believe. This guy apparently is really good, as you can imagine. At 8'1", he can spike the ball like nobody else can. He can cover the court. If you've ever seen seated volleyball, it's as you would think. You're sitting,
legit see
and he's really good.
Bowling. I can legit see bowling.
In the Paralympics or just Olympics?
Special.
Okay.
No, because the reason I said it is, I work there occasionally, and
at the Special Olympics.
Well, I used to work like on Sunday mornings, and on Sunday mornings, there was always this group of special needs people that come in. And to me, the funniest thing about them was one or two of them was so serious about bowling, and they were so good.
You're damn right.
It was bizarre. And the other ones just having fun, like they didn't have their shoes. They just throw the house ball.
You see that with any group.
But these special, these two particular ones had their own shoes, had their own ball, and they had their own lane. They're like, I'm not bowling with them. He'd come up and be like, I'm not bowling with them. Put me on my own lane. And I'm like, all right, man, stop pointing your finger at me. And then he would crush it. And I'm like,
careful, he's gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, no, he was really serious. He's adamant. I was like, I never put you on the lane with them. You're accusing me of I didn't do this. But anyway, they were very good. And I was like, better than me. And I go, I wonder if that's an Olympic sport, because I can see that.
I don't believe that bowling is an Olympic sport, even in the Paralympics. Moving on, the Louisville police, that would be in Kentucky, are investigating a serial porch poop pirate. And this is exactly as you think it might be. But the Louisville Metro Police Department are investigating at least 2 complaints have been made of a man pooping on people's porches. Police said that the bowel movement was recorded in Old Louisville near 1200.
I feel like, what was that other article? what was that other article we covered where that old man was he shooting slingshots?
Yeah. Shooting BBs through people's window. Yeah, it's excellent. But I think this is funny. I don't know. Porch pirate is bad, but I think the porch pooper has got to be worse, right? Because you come outside, you're like expecting a package, and it's not there. You're like, dang it. And then you just have to order it again. But with the porch pooper, you got to deal with that mess, man.
No, because, all right, so.
And what's this guy getting out of it? Does he put it into a bag, first of all, like the old school style? You put it in a bag and leave it, or is he just dropping trowel right there?
It. You set it on fire.
Or set it on fire, yeah.
That's the whole point.
Well, not necessarily.
Of the joke.
Not necessarily. Well, you can do both. Look, I know you can do both. You can either set it on fire or just leave it for someone as a
No.
treat
You got to set it on fire and knock on the door.
and then run.
Yeah, because they would put it out. And
Well, if you know anything about this, call 502-574-7111, and the investigation is ongoing.
I could have sworn we did an article of the woman pooping on the trail.
Yes, I believe we did. Yes.
Where like that running trail always had poop, and they're like, "Where's this human feces coming from?" And they finally like put up cameras or something, and they saw this like runner lady just.
She just popping a squat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think the poo is worse than the number one, the TT? If you had a serial TT porch pirate?
See, the problem with the TT is you don't know the aroma. Everything's different,
Right.
Because you don't know if that's pee or not. There's always that kind of like, where did that puddle come from?
Well, yeah, with poo, it's nasty. You clean it up, whatever. But pee kind of tends to linger. You know, it soaks into the wood or whatever. I think I'd rather the number two than the number one if I had
I'd rather-
someone going on my
I'd rather
porch.
Neither.
Well, yeah, of course, but
But this guy, I really like the dedication to it because not only do you have to like get your body ready mentally for that,
uh
and then it's just which porch do you pick?
huh, right.
Because it sounds like this isn't a
It's
targeted
cereal.
thing.
It's cereal. He's
Well,
doing
I mean, it's not targeted, meaning, oh, I hate Joe, that neighbor. He told me how to cut my hedges.
right.
He reported me. I'm gonna go poop on his porch. Or like this kid,
mean, it could
this
be.
jerk kid almost ran me over. I'm gonna go poop on his dad's porch. Now I would, I want to know. I like it. It's kind of like the BB guy, because the BB guy, he would just shoot people's stuff.
Yeah.
It was random.
Random. Yeah, pretty random.
He would get
And he's
bored.
been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, he's like every Thursday.
But at least you can do that from like a remote location. You're kind of shooting from distance. This guy, you got to be on site for this stuff. Unless, again, you're doing it on a bag and you're just throwing it. But
the ring.
the
again,
Ring doorbell camera's got to
see,
catch this
no,
guy.
Not even that. Like I remember we had that conversation. Like I wish I knew some that worked for Ring, and that extra service you pay where like they manage your data or whatever. How many videos they have on hand of people doing wild stuff, because not necessarily like illegal stuff. It's just I always wonder who comes up to your door and it's just like pooping.
That is, I wonder that as well.
Man, I would.
Who comes to my door and poops?
Well,
Manifest.
If I had my Ring doorbell capture that,
Democracy
I would
manifest.
immediately call you and be like, dude, I got a video of a dude pooping on my porch. This is awesome.
All right, man. As teased, the most unattractive hobbies that a man can have according to women. And I think this is something you as a single guy out there on the dating scene probably need to be aware of. But Clay Travis, who is a radio personality and also the owner of Outkick, posted this on his Twitter page a couple of weeks ago. And many, many, many women have responded. So at the top, Dick, let's start at the top of the least attractive hobbies for a man to have and see how many of these that you have. Number one, coming in at number one.
This list is amazing.
Playing video games. Dick, are you guilty of this unattractive hobby? Yes or no?
Oh, 100%.
That is the least attractive hobby. The next one.
I wouldn't even call it a hobby, though.
What would you call it besides a colossal waste of time and unattractive?
I would call it a calling.
That's great.
I like challenges. Those are the kind of games I like to play. I don't just sit there and play Sims or something. That's boring.
Okay, well, it did not specify which games. It just said which hobbies, and playing video games are. If it's like Magic the Gathering, yeah, run, ladies, run.
That game's really hard.
The number two game, and that's right, it's really hard. It takes up a lot of time.
Well, I would argue if you're saying video games, it's like, well, chess could be a game.
Could be, especially if it's electronic.
You could play a video game chess.
Look at you trying to justify your habit right now.
I'm talking. Oh no, I'm not ashamed of anything.
He's getting very defensive here.
Yeah.
We're only on one. The next one, collecting figurines.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Oh gosh, here we go.
So
Diversion time onesies. Sit back, relax, and now story time with Dick.
I had this argument with a girl I was dating because in my routine on Saturday mornings, that was like my only time to play a video game uninterrupted. And I would watch soccer. I put the soccer games on and play video games. And after dating this person for a while, they got mad at me because I wouldn't make them breakfast. I would do my coffee and make some jam and a little biscuit or whatever, and they'd be like, "Well, why don't you do this?" I'm like, "Well, why don't you get up and play video games with me?" And she goes, "Well, I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Okay, well, do you want me to wake you up every morning at 6 a.m. on Saturday?"
Because that's when I'm getting up to play.
That's why I'm getting up. Like, I don't want to interrupt you. And then she's like, "It's just a waste of time." And I go, "What time am I wasting? I'm waking up extra early to dedicate my time to do this. It's not like it's in the middle of dinner. I'm sitting there playing Clash of Clans."
Well, most women find that unattractive.
And that's when I realized I don't care.
No way, not you. The next one is collecting figurines. Now, this one's a little unclear because the term figurine can mean a lot of things. But I do have to admit, probably a strange hobby if you're collecting, like, I don't know, glass dolls of some sort.
Like the anime girls that were going to go to Claws?
Absolutely.
Claw World and get you?
That is unattractive, apparently. Would a G.I. Joe doll be considered a figurine? I don't know. The next one, magic tricks.
That's awesome, by the way.
Do you or have you tried to attempt to learn any magic tricks? Okay, so as a guy...
I bet you have, though. You have a book.
I didn't have a book that I can remember, but I did have a couple of the toys that I had bought as a child.
Like the fake wand and stuff like that?
The tricks that you get at like a magic store. I did try, but I was never any good, and I'm always impressed with the guys that can do the sleight of hand tricks. I think it's kind of neat.
Oh, you mean the thieves?
But I wouldn't say that it's attractive, though, and I think the women concur with this. Magic tricks, not an attractive hobby. The next one, online trolling. How is this a hobby? I love it.
I mean...
So, you're on a first date. What is it that you do? Well, I like to run. I like to jog. Oh, that's great, staying in shape. What do you do? Well, I troll people online. Who's going to say that? Well, it's unattractive. The next one, gambling. Okay, I could see how that could be a problem, especially if you're gambling money that you don't have, savings, whatnot. The next one, this one's going to hit really close to home. Building model trains. Dick, I believe we are on half of these right now. You definitely play video games. You definitely troll people online. And building model trains, you're 3 out of 5 so far. I don't understand. Model trains is kind of a cool thing. I don't see how that could be unattractive. I don't know. The next one, though, taxidermy.
Oh, well, that kind of like figurines.
It's kind of the same thing.
I don't know.
I guess it's because it's considered gross. Although, there is a difference. Come on. There is a difference between having, like, this majestic elk, up on your wall that you went out on this hunt and tracked it down and you're really proud of it, and then having, like, I don't know, a squirrel that you bought that's, like, set up in some little scene that you bought at, like, a secondhand store. You're like, I just think it looks pretty cool. There is a big difference between those two. You know the ones I'm talking about? It's like a raccoon with a little rabbit. And they just have them set up in the corner of their house. That's weird.
Dude, okay.
Ladies run again.
Okay, I got to show you this.
Uh-huh.
There's a guy who does, like, bad taxidermy.
On purpose?
On purpose. Like, here, I'm going to...
We need to book this guy as a guest.
Like this
Please.
Like, this guy made...
Oh, my God. That's so disturbing.
A pencil case.
Out of a rat.
Out of a rat.
That is disturbing.
But
now,
then,
that would be an unattractive hobby.
And it was like a TikTok. He was like a TikTok account. He just does it for fun, but it's like always rats. And then it's like weird stuff.
Oh, he's standing there with a top hat on and reading some book? Oh, very classy. He looks very Victorian in that rat. Are you showing this, by the way?
No, I'm trying to find...
Show this to the onesies because I don't know that I could accurately describe this, but this is some very odd taxidermy with rats in various poses that... Good God.
Yeah. Like, this is classic right here. This is... See, I would own this.
Oh, my God. Please tell me you're showing that.
I am showing it. It is a taxidermy rat that looks like he's sniffing cocaine off. Again, this is...
Again, there are levels to taxidermy, is my point.
This is what I like. These are the people I want to meet.
Yes, we need to book him.
The description of this item is "Party on, Wayne." That's great. But yeah, taxidermy, I can see it.
Oh, that is funny. And the last one is comic book collecting.
No, the last one's bird watching.
Oh, I didn't
you gotta
open
click
it up.
on it.
Yeah, I didn't open it. Okay. How many more after that? It's loading.
That's it.
That's
the last
awesome.
one. But that list, I feel like, again, I'm on it. And Bring it on. I don't give.
Well, excellent. Well, as we told you before, this is a double episode, so we're going to continue this conversation. But for this episode, let's do the quick hit here at the end of this episode, onesies. Do the guides at the Paralympics get a medal, and why do runners wear blindfolds? Well, we already covered that aspect of why the runners wear blindfolds. But the guides, such as you said it was your friend or sister, they also get medals because they play an integral part in the success or unsuccess of a para-athlete. So you see those guys running next to them, they too are getting gold medals.
Hey, do you think blind people watch blind football?
I'm going to say they can't because they're blind, Dick.
Yeah. I wonder how that works.
All right, man. That is all we have time for this week. But like we said, onesies, stick around for part 2 of this episode. It's going to run the following week. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow, tell your friends about this show. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. We'll see you for part 2 next week.